All right, good morning, gang. We love having you as part of the experience here. We're live from the Fly on the Wall Productions studios on North Main Street in Barrie. I'm JD Green. Pleasure to have you along. Roger Hill is saying, well, we got some more temperate temperatures that are in place across New England here for the next couple of days. It's going to be looking and feeling a little bit more like winter. To and through the weekend. Still some spotty flurries and maybe a snow squall here or there, not only today and tonight, but also through the weekend. So please drive carefully, no matter where you are. Things could get a little slick out there. We appreciate your eyes and ears, though. Thanks for being part of the experience this morning. And we have Bri Pace with us this morning. Now, you're with the SAD program at Spalding High School.
Yeah.
All right. So you have a PJ with you who is one of the advisors involved with the program.
Yep.
You have Dawn Poitras also, who's kind of what do these advisors do? What do they just kind of rally you guys together and just make sure that you're staying on track here?
That is part of it, but they also are a major communication between members of the community from I don't know if you know Ann Gilbert, but they're in connections with people like her, and we work really closely with a bunch of people throughout Vermont.
Sure.
So they're one of the main communicators between them and us.
Okay. What you're doing today is kind of trumping everything that they do. If they're connecting in with the community, I mean, look at you. You're the one that's on the microphone, on the camera this morning.
Yeah.
You got one up on them.
Yep. They try to send student representatives as much as possible to really kind of, because it's students against destructive decisions.
Yeah.
So they really try to put students as the face of it.
Sure. And they're doing a great job, all of them. Dawn reached out to me. It was quite some time ago, and was basically telling me, you got to have Bri on. You got to have her on. So we basically, how long has SAD been around at Spalding High School?
It's been around for a decent amount of time.
Okay. Not like 30 years or anything like that, though.
I'm not entirely sure on that one.
All right. Why did you're 15 years old.
Yes.
You're a sophomore.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you get involved with this? And what's your title? What's your position?
So in SAD, we don't really do hierarchy as much. So no president, director, anything like that, where it's kind of all just a mutual group effort. So I'm just a member of SAD, and I kind of got involved when I was in middle school, not in SAD necessarily, but in different programs like VCAT, Vermont Kids Against Tobacco, and Fuel Up to Play 60. And so moving up to high school, SAD was the next step up from middle school.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So were you, in other words, are you doing this because, why are you doing this? Are you doing this because you had a tobacco use thing going on, or you had a family member that was making destructive decisions, whatever they be?
I really started mainly because I did have a family member who was making some very destructive decisions, but that was when I was younger, and I guess it's gotten a lot better, but I really want to be able to help other people to try and prevent that from happening to them, because it does start a lot in the teen years.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, okay? There's 1,000,000,001 bad decisions that can be made by all of us, whether you're a teenager, whether you're a young adult, or an old geezer like me. We can all make bad decisions. That's a massive umbrella. But when it comes to your age group, like you just said, this is kind of a pivotal time in a teenager's life where we're either leaning a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right. We're coming to a crossroads where we can make some pretty bad decisions. I've got two nephews who are teenagers and have made some pretty horrible decisions. But here's the thing, and this is what my dad always taught me, is it's never a bad decision if you could learn from it and be better because of it. It's those of us that don't get better because of it and learn from it and continue to make the same bad decisions. Then we get on a road. And I think that's what you guys are trying maybe to do.
Yeah, so SAD is really, it's more about offering resources for students who are struggling or students who, and it's a mix of trying to prevent it and like providing resources.
What are those resources?
We have a lot of programs through the school that can help support students. If they need help, they can reach out to Dawn or PJ.
Yeah.
It's a major role, their role in our school, really. And it's just, we kind of try to provide like student support as well. Like, I know that we're trying to be like really on top of this bulletin board that's in a hallway that everyone can see, and it will always have a list of resources, and each like generalized resources, and then each month we try to offer more specialized resources, but those generalized resources are always available up there.
Wow. Do you guys meet? Do you get together as a group?
Yeah, we do meet every Thursday.
Okay. So how long do you meet for?
It's usually, I think, like 40 minutes.
Okay.
It's not the longest period of time, but it fits in with everyone's schedules, and we really it's a lot of individual work, but it's kind of when we get to join together and like sort stuff out.
What do you talk about?
We have a couple projects coming from the state. One of the big ones that we do is the seatbelt survey every year, where we set up students in the parking lot and like we basically count how many students are wearing their seatbelts when they're leaving. That's a big one that we do, and we get like.
Do they know you're watching them?
We try to keep it.
Are you guys in camouflage in the trees with binoculars?
No, we stand at the exit with an advisor and a clipboard, so we don't get hit by a car or something.
Interesting.
But it is usually like sort of like a spring, and they don't notice you until you're there, and then they all try to buckle up real quick.
Yeah. Not that you're getting their plate number and calling the police or anything, but still, I mean, this is interesting. That's a decision. Yeah.
And we've actually noticed that since we've started doing the seatbelt surveys, we've seen an increase in seatbelt use.
Wow. So how often do you do that?
We try to do it twice a year.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So we can see the progress from the beginning of the year to the end of the year.
Wow. Let's talk about what is frankly huge right now, which is vaping. My God, I mean, where do we begin with that? That's one of the things that you guys kind of push a little bit.
Yeah, vaping is a problem, like all over in a bunch of schools all over the United States.
You bet.
It's really become like this sort of thing, and it's like there's a lot of students who do it mainly because they find it as like it's a relief for them, and like they think that it helps relieve stress and anxiety, but it can actually increase it as like the craving for nicotine, and then it actually creates more anxiety.
Yeah.
Actually, Truth Initiative, they're like the people who make all the commercials of like you're inhaling toxic metals into your lungs with like the big scary metal monster.
Yes,
Yeah,
I've seen it.
those people. Yeah. They did a survey, and I think it was 2020 of August that 4 in 5 teens actually start vaping because they want to use it as a sort of relief for stress or anxiety, and that like really just spiked over the pandemic.
I'm sure it has. 4 and 5. My God, I mean,
Yeah.
that's unbelievable. Have you ever vaped?
No, I have not.
Friends that have?
I do have friends who have vaped, yes.
Have or do or both?
Both.
Both. What do you say to the ones that do?
I really just try to be as much of a support for them as possible. And
Good answer.
some of my friends who, like, I don't judge them for it, and I'm not like, that's a terrible thing to do, you're hurting yourself. But I'm like, you're hurting yourself. Like, I'm here if you need to talk to someone. Like, there are people you can reach out to.
Sure.
And a bunch of, like, the friends that I've talked to, they're like, I don't want to vape, but I feel like I need to. Like, I can't stop at this point.
Need to, like, physically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gives them energy or lifts their spirits or their mood or what have you. Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy how quickly and how easily we can get physically hooked on things, no matter what it is. Booze, chemicals, vaping, smoking cigarettes, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And especially when you're young. I mean, this stuff can come on at 10 miles an hour, and in a matter of no time, it's going 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
It's a runaway train, and it's almost impossible to. I shouldn't say it's almost impossible to get off, but
It's very difficult.
it's very difficult. It's very difficult. How many members of the SAD program at Spalding High School, Students Against Destructive Decisions, are there?
We have about 10, 11.
And you're one of them.
Yes.
Not necessarily the spokesperson
No.
or the executive director,
No.
but the one that's got more bravery than the others for coming on a podcast and talking about this. That's cool.
Yeah. I think Ann Gilbert was the one that connected us because I worked with her on a project for putting together resources for parents
Yep.
as like how they can support their kids, either making them understand that vaping is not actually helpful or that it's like not a cool thing to do.
Yeah.
And also to help their teens quit vaping.
Yeah. That's a tall order. Some might say you're kind of maybe even paddling upstream. Have you had any success with this? Have you had any members of SAD who were able to tap the brakes on some destructive decisions, become members of SAD?
I'm not 100% sure on that one. I mean, I know that SAD has helped a lot of students. Dawn tells us all the time, she tells us about how students will come to her and ask for help, but like obviously she can't give specific names, but she tells us so that way we know like we're making a difference, really.
Making some progress.
Yeah, because sometimes it kind of feels like we're running into a brick wall, but we are making progress.
Do you ever get up in front of the school, whether it be an assembly or before a sporting event or anything, and speak out or have any kind of representation, display, visual representation?
I don't think we've done that at Spalding. It's an idea that's been bounced around a couple of times, but I do know that we have had members of SAD who have spoken at the Capitol.
Wow.
Made a speech at the Capitol and different things like that. So we might not do it directly through Spalding, but like we are talking outside.
What are some of the big ticket items that you might be discussing when it comes to destructive decisions? It's not just vaping. It's not just drinking booze, but also maybe drinking booze and getting in a vehicle, or heaven forbid, drive a vehicle.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a ton of destructive decisions.
Yeah, SAD works a lot with not only vaping and tobacco and nicotine use, along with alcohol use, but we also really reach out to students around mental health as well. Excellent. That's a huge one. And we try to provide as many resources because mental health can play a huge impact on addiction, no matter to what substance it is.
What do you think the general mental health is of everyone in your school? And when I say everyone, I mean everyone as a whole. Teachers, staff, administration, students, the janitor, the athletic director, everyone. What do you think? 10 being utopia, 0 being, the apocalypse. What do you think? Where do you think we're at now? I mean, coming out of COVID. Some say we're not coming out of it. We're still head first into it. But mental health is man. It's like right there. It's the almost the tippy top of everything, and everything is coming out of that. But what do you think? I mean, what do you see? Do you think that generally people are happy? Or happy on the outside, but struggling on the inside and still coping with the remnants of COVID-19?
COVID-19 definitely had detrimental effects on mental health throughout all ages. But it really hit hard with youth because, our brains are still developing and we really need that social interaction. And that's something that we did not get during the pandemic. And like we could have Zooms, we could text our friends, but we couldn't have that face-to-face interaction.
Yeah.
And so coming back into a normal day-to-day life, like that definitely led to a lot of stress and anxiety for a lot of students. Because it wasn't like we just immediately went straight back to how things were. It was first halftime, and then it was just a really long progress to be able to get where we are now. And the effects of COVID-19 is not going to go away. Like, we may have vaccines and COVID rates may be going down or going up, but like the fact of the pandemic is it affected a lot of people, and it was very detrimental to a lot of people's mental health, and they're just still trying to kind of rebound from that and trying to get back on track.
It'll be residual for a long time.
Yes.
Quite possibly the rest of your high school career, if not far beyond that. Yeah. In different capacities, and it may be not so obvious, but we all need help, man. It's like all of us do, whether you're a teenager in high school or it doesn't matter. I mean, we all need help right now. We could all use more friends, better friends, and more support from our family. Just checking in on us. Make sure, hey, how are you doing? You okay? Do you need your driveway plowed? How are you feeling? We need a hell of a lot more of that these days,
Yeah.
and will, not just for the next year or so, but we will for quite a while. Our culture, our society has been put to the test with this. And it seems like what you guys are doing is you're combating this quite well. Do you say to your school, do you have some kind of communication conduit where you can say to all of the student body, hey, we're sad, we're over here, we're in room 100, we meet once a week at this time, come join us, come be part of this. Do you guys do that?
So at the beginning of the school year, like when all the freshmen are coming in, we do have a table set up in the cafeteria for like, hey, this is what our program is. I think we had a table at the craft fair, and we just kind of like put little blurbs out there every now and then where there are student representatives. One of the major things is like, it's really difficult for a lot of the students in SAD because not only sometimes we feel like we're just not making any difference, but also a lot of the students in SAD have like so much other stuff going on, like they're involved in different programs, or they're doing honors, sports,
whatever.
Yeah. So sometimes it's really difficult to see something of ours just kind of flunk when we took the time out of our schedule to like focus specifically on that. And then knowing that we actually are making a difference makes it all worth it, even if it's only like one or two people.
And you may not see that or experience that once a week. It could be months that go by before you hear a success story.
Mm-hmm.
And gosh, I remember being in high school back in the 20s and just feeling, like sometimes we would see, a student body organization that would start up, whatever it was, to try to help other students. And being the immature young man that I was, I remember thinking, it's just a social club, they're just, trying to toot their own horn or make themselves look better.
Mm-hmm.
But there really is some underlying passion behind this. It seems like for your group of 10 or 11, you guys have like some underlying connectivity and desire to really do this and have an impact in some way.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of students in SAD who have had interactions with, whether it's like a friend making a destructive decision or a parent or like a sibling or someone really close to them or maybe even themselves.
Yeah.
So it's definitely always been like a huge inspiration. Like we don't want other people to have to go through it.
Yeah.
So we try to help as much as we can.
Right. And it's not like you're walking around saying, we know better, we do better, but rather, hey, we're on the same page with you. We're all in the same age group here, and we are all susceptible to making decisions that maybe aren't destructive, but maybe decisions that don't always serve our best interests.
Yeah, and I feel like it means a lot coming from someone in your own age group, and it can be really daunting to go and ask an adult for help.
Of course.
Then the adult, because there's always that like underlying fear.
Yes.
That they're just going to be like, why the heck would you do that? That's stupid. But
right.
And I feel like it's that way anytime that you reach out to anybody, but it definitely means a lot more to the student body to be able to have someone their age who is like, hey, I'm not judging you for this. I just want to help.
let me let me hit you in the eyes, between the eyes. Something that we haven't talked about is it really like hardcore drug use. Drugs are easier to get now than they were when I was your age. What do you say to students who maybe haven't yet tried a drug? And I'm talking about beyond alcohol, beyond vaping, and maybe even beyond pot. Haven't yet tried it, but vulnerable, susceptible to maybe go down this road here or just try something in the near future. What do you say?
Don't do it. It's really easy to get roped in, and there's a lot of people who are like, "Oh, I'll just try it once. I won't get addicted to it." And it never really works out that way.
Famous last words.
Yes. Really, if you feel yourself kind of getting drawn that way, I know it sounds cheesy, but it helps so much to talk to someone about it. Like, even if you don't think it'll help, or if you feel like someone's going to judge you for it, no one's going to judge you. I mean, if you go to the right person, there will be people who judge you, but if you reach out to like a member of SAD or even a teacher,
that's it.
A trusted adult, someone that you really trust, they'll help you.
And not necessarily, there's this thing that crawls around in some heads where we feel like if we were to do that, next thing we know, they're going to be on the phone with the police and
No.
zippity-doo.
No.
But just come to one of your meetings, talk to a member of SAD, talk to one of the advisors of SAD, and say, hey, this, again, not easy to do. As a teenager, I was talking to everybody all the time. And some people are not outgoing like that. Some people are more introverted. But muster up the courage to approach you or a member of SAD or an advisor and say, hey, I'm going through a rough patch right now. You don't even have to say, hey, I'm thinking about, scoring some Coke or whatever. You don't have to say that. You could just say, hey, I would like to join SAD. I would like to be part of the organization, or at least just talk to somebody and find out what you guys are about.
Yeah.
End of story.
Even sending an email. I mean, everything's...
Exactly.
And even that can be daunting. Like, I know when I'm writing an email, I sit there and, like, I pour over it and I'm like, okay, I think it's good. But, I mean, even if you sent us, like, I promise you it does not have to be perfect. You can just be like, hi, I want to talk. Send.
Done. What kind of media are you guys getting? What kind of exposure, help are you getting from area newspapers, area TV, radio, what have you?
I'm not 100% sure. That's not necessarily my area. I think Dawn would know more about that than I would. But I know that we do our own Instagram page. So Spalding High School has a SAD Instagram, and we try to like post a bunch of stuff about what we're doing and like resources.
Facebook too?
I don't think we have Facebook.
Okay.
We might.
Okay. Is it linked up anywhere, like Spalding High School's web page or anything?
I'm not sure, but if not, we should probably get on that.
Chris Hennessy, our superintendent, is he aware of what you guys are doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
We've talked to him on a couple of occasions.
Yeah. I think all of you guys are pretty damn brave to be attempting to do something like this. as a student body. It takes a lot. It really does. And I'm sure every member of your team for SAD has their own story and their own reasoning behind wanting to do this, but you're doing great work. Will you and Dawn stay in touch with me?
Yeah.
And throw me some statistics or anything that you have, whether it's national, whether it's right here in central Vermont, or even if you got any numbers or information coming out of Spalding High School specifically, or Washington County, stay in touch with me on that.
Okay.
And get back in here and come back whenever you want, a couple of months or whatever. You guys should be in my opinion, in parades. I think there should be some fundraising for you guys in some capacity. And I would love to see the whistle blown a little more on what you're doing. I mean, this is fantastic stuff. And the fact that it's run by a bunch of students who have the wheel and not adults, I think is especially intriguing. And I wish you guys all the best of luck. And please share this episode, folks, if you enjoyed it, if you think it's important. This is what we do. And we appreciate you, Bri.
Thank you.
Very much. Bri Pace, 15 years old, sophomore. Are you gonna do SAD for the rest of high school here?
Yeah, I probably will.
All right. Wow. And let's, at some point, let's grab one of the advisors in here and have them speak out. I'd love to hear what they have to say about it too.
Okay.
You're doing great work.
Thank you.
1 hour at a time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where are you going now? You going back to school?
Yep. Get to go to Algebra 2.
Oh, yes. I excelled so well in algebra when I was in high school. And if you believe that one, I'll tell you another one. Thanks, Bri.
Yep.